Meeting to order. You have a copy of the minutes. If there's any additions or corrections. If not, I'll entertain a motion they be approved.
Motion for approval.
Mr. Prather seconds it. All in favor? It is unanimous. You have pages and pages of transfers. If you have any questions, if not, I'll entertain a motion they'll be approved.
Motion approved transfers.
Is there a second? Okay, Mr. Hughes. All in favor? Unanimous. You have a copy of the bills and hand checks. There's 2 Visa cards that came in. One for EMA. This is in the general fund, $134.98. And another Visa card for EMS, $640.96. They came in after the budget, after the agenda was typed up. Any questions on any of these? Need a motion? Lyons? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
Judge, I'm going to recuse myself from any Parks and Rec that may be in there, please.
Okay, we got that. We're required to have a county road aid and a LGEA public hearing on the roads, and JR's prepared to do that. We'll open the public hearing at this time. JR, give you his recommendations.
Good evening, everybody. The roads I'm going to recommend in this year's budget, this coming year's budget, is approximately 10 miles. Ironworks Estates, I want to do all of them. I want to recommend all of them, which is 2.75 miles in there. There's Lakeview Court, Lakeview Drive, Southwind Court, Elkhorn Drive, Creekside Drive, Sycamore Drive, Hemlock Lane. That makes up Ironworks Estates. I'd also like to recommend Pokeberry Road, Grayson Way, Cane Run Extended, Wright Lane, Caney Church Road, Frazier Lane, and Hess Branch Road. And that makes up to 10 miles.
And that's approximately how much? Approximately.
Just a little over $1 million.
Is there any questions or comments?
And we fund, since we do this as a part of an LGEA hearing, a portion of these funds come from LGEA, is that right?
Yeah, we can, yes. We can take all, well, we can't take them all because we don't have that much money. What I've done in the past is let it build up till we get about $400,000 instead of, and then take money out of there and do a portion. We've still got this year that they haven't done this year's roads. And how many of those are left, JR? They're not on that list, but
There's 8,
8 that they never did get done because they were doing all the other work.
and they plan on starting on them Monday.
Yeah, and we'll probably, Tom, take out of LGEA to pay for those on this year's budget. Now, this is for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've got about 400,000 in there now, in
Approximately,
LGA. Yeah.
approximately 3 miles left on this year's budget.
What to do is kind of watch our general fund budget, our road fund budget to do that, but that's.
All covered, our drainage pipes, they're all in good shape, but there's no replacement of anything.
They're gonna be, some of it's gonna be replaced. Anytime we pave a road, we'll go over them, and any culvert that needs crossing out replacing. We've been doing it for the last several years.
Any other questions or comments? Any questions from the audience? If not, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you, JR.
Thank you.
Need to just note in the minutes that Mr. Tackett completed his training unit and should have received his check. If not, he checks in the mail. So
It's in the desk.
in the desk. And then we need to declare junk a computer at the road department. Need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Is there a second? Mr. Prather, all in favor? Okay, and then Simplex Grinnell has the annual renewal on the security system for the courthouse, and the total price is $4,504. And how much did you say it was? It was $4,154 last year. And we need to renew that if you so desire.
It's strange they used that odd the dollar number on the amount instead of 0 or 5 or 10.
What?
It's kind of odd that they used the $4 at the end of their bid. I thought it's ironic.
I don't know.
That's fine. Instead of saying 4,500 or 4,505.
Now,
It's a big-
entertain a motion to authorize me to sign the renewal
So
contract.
moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, that is unanimous. Larry, or anybody, nobody here from the jail? I guess Larry sent up his request. He wants to, he's lost nobody, but he wants to add Deputy Zachary Adams to replace Deputy Ova Smith. And Zachary Adams at $10.62 an hour, and Ova Smith replacing Ova Smith at $12.03, and part-time Daniel Boer at $10.25. And if you agree with that, you make a motion?
Make a motion
Okay.
to do both of them if we want to.
Well, yeah, we can go both at the same time, unless there's an objection. Gonna get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Also, we need to do, all bills have to be voted on, be paid, except those with the standing order, and the standing order allows us to pay the salaries and pay utilities. And need a motion authorizing the annual standing order to pre-approve certain reoccurring expenses. And that's the two that the state will allow us to do.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Parker, any questions? All in favor? Okay, that is unanimous. Gosh. I asked last week if anybody had any budget discussion to bring it up today or come by the office and talk to me. There's two changes that, or one change that we need to make, and that's an unemployment insurance. It's gone up quite a bit and didn't put enough in there to cover the cost. And we need to add $5,000 to the unemployment insurance. One of the unique things, and I think I'm right, Jane, we don't have anybody that's unemployed. But if they work here and leave and go somewhere else and get laid off, we're oftentimes responsible for the unemployment, correct? So that's where, yeah, everybody should. And that don't seem fair, but apparently that's the way it is, because I don't know that we've ever laid anybody off. Some might quit. So anyway, we need to add $5,000 there. And then I had some meetings with people from the hospice of the Bluegrass, and they cover Scott, Bourbon, Grant, Harrison, and Nicholas counties. And they are asking for $5,000 from each fiscal court to support them. And we gave them several years ago, I don't know, what, 4, 5, 6, 25,000. Tom, you probably remember. And that was, and John T., I think you were on the court then too, for the building. And we discussed a long time about it, and I got a copy of their annual audit and so forth on a computer. And I told them that we put probably $100,000 or more into things like Salvation Army and Amen House, pauper burials and things that these other counties didn't do. And that I would make a recommendation to the court about how much we might be able to give them. because I asked them, what do these other counties give on all this other, and to their knowledge, they said nothing. And I kicked around a couple of numbers that I thought. First number I came up with was $1,000. No, well, maybe 2,500, or maybe somewhere in between, or maybe nothing. But they have 6 employees that live in Scott County, and they gave me a list of, since 2000, we've served 2,037 patients in Scott County. And that's kind of where they've been. And in 2013, which was the last year they had here, 131 patients is how many. So that's open for discussion.
Do we know what any of the other fiscal courts might,
The other fiscal courts, she said, gave them 5,000. But as I pointed out to her, you know, they don't do these other things that we do. Any,
Well, we can do it like we do in a lot of cases. We can put it up to $1,000, and upon, later on, if something comes up upon their request, we always can look at transfer.
well, I don't think there'll be any more requests. I think whatever we put's what it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I could go on and tell you, I looked at some of the salaries too that they make.
What's your recommendation?
Well,
I mean, you kick it around, I mean,
Yeah.
or do you have one?
I would say 2,000.
That's fine.
They don't have an office, their office is.
It's the office in Cynthiana.
Right.
And we gave them, I believe it was $25,000 when they built the building. And John T. and
That's been
Tom.
a number of years ago.
Number of years ago, yeah, I forget exactly, but you all both were on the court when we did that. And I reminded them of that, and they remembered it, so.
and that was kind of a one-time expenditure.
That's what I reminded them.
And a special need that
Yeah.
we tried to assist the community in doing, so.
I've had the unfortunate circumstance in the last year to have had hospice in my home with my father. It's a really tough thing to ask for. The 5,000 coming from zero is kind of hard to get there. I would tend to go with the judge's recommendation, but maybe go to $2,500.
Meet them in
That'd
the
be
middle.
fine.
I was gonna say, why don't you
That's
meet them
fine.
in the middle?
Yeah, it's
Or
fine.
whatever I just said.
That's
What
fine.
David said.
I think most families have had the experience of association with them, but.
They're a great organization.
Yeah.
But there are
Exactly.
some things when you look at the audit
I agree.
that make you wonder. That's the reason I wanted to look at their audit, so. Okay, yeah, I'll put 2,500 if that's
That seems to be
okay.
reasonable.
Okay. Now, Bill, you had something?
I was just gonna say that, you know, I'd stop by and see you today, and by our next regular meeting, I'll have done all the research and everything I need to vote on it. That's, you know, what I told you today.
Yeah.
On the budget.
Okay.
I still got some questions answered, but I'll have them answered within.
No, I'll put it in the budget. We'll vote on the budget at the time. I mean, that's a consensus at 2,500. When we put the budget together, then, and vote on that, we'll. The ones that are gonna be involved in the well score thing, after the budget, after the regular workshop, the department heads all need to meet with, Jim, I believe is his name, to set up when they're gonna do the screenings. And as soon as we finish the workshop, I think you're gonna be here 3 days. I'm talking about to do the blood test and things.
Yeah, he's coming to discuss all that.
Yeah, he's coming to discuss all that, and hopefully we'll have a good turnout. I think we've got a pretty good group that signed up. Okay, so department heads, be sure and be here. And that's all I have on the agenda.
I guess on the wellness thing, Judge, if there's real strong participation, that's good. And if the participation is not what we want, I assume then do we talk about ways to encourage them, incentives? Or
They've given it, there's incentives already out there.
incentives are out there?
Yeah. And JR had 100% sign up. Now, how many get the blood test and things be different, and we've had a good number sign up. The incentives are vacation days.
Okay.
If you meet the criteria, you get 3 days or 2 days or 1 day. Now, that's an introductory thing. As we go through trying to get this thing started, we wanted to do something that we could take care of easily.
Yes, sir.
And that's,
Also, during that meeting, they're gonna, draw the name of the winner for the gift card, if you had 90% or more,
yeah,
so.
for people that signed up. So they are doing some smaller incentives.
90% of what?
Each department.
Oh, okay.
Hey. You got a 50-50 chance to win, Jack. If you tell Mike stay home, you gotta be present to win. We were pleased with the ones that signed up, but now when it comes to getting the blood test and things, that may be a different story. Okay, Brandon.
Thank you for allowing me to speak for just a few minutes tonight. Over the last year, and as you all are very much aware, technology changes, healthcare has changed a lot too. We have just this week kind of been offered an opportunity to upgrade our computer tablets that was part of the package whenever we moved to the current billing company, Ambulance Medical Billing. Our patient care reporting system has dynamically changed in the last year since we joined the billing company, and they offer the patient care reporting system, which is it's totally separate from our billing company. But they have updated. There's a lot more pop-up screens, a lot more graphics as far as with patient information. The current tablets that we have an Atom processor in them, which is very common in a lot of the smaller like iPad minis or something along that nature. It's not really designed for the amount of information that we're putting into the system with our patient care reports. Current billing company, like I said, we've discussed this with them, so they are offering us to upgrade our tablets that we have that will allow us to hopefully move towards the future with the technology changes that are occurring. The new pads would have i5 processors in them, have Bluetooth capabilities, and that will be very helpful, I hope, as we move towards if we get approved for the cardiac monitors. Right now, with our cardiac monitor information, we have a cable that each time that we go out and we use cardiac monitors, we have to connect it to the current tablets that we have to download the information in so that we can include with the patient care report. The Bluetooth, and I've had some just minor discussions with our current vendor for cardiac monitors, but they seem to feel that all this information, we could eliminate those cables, which unfortunately cost $125 a piece to transfer this information, so it'll all be done by Bluetooth. Also, the wireless, it's 4G wireless on these new devices. One of the big things that is coming out now with healthcare, and especially in the EMS field, is the community integrated paramedic. The Kentucky Board of EMS is currently looking at this, and it looks like we're going to be moving forward in some form or fashion in the next year. And basically what it is with the new healthcare laws have been placed upon medical facilities as hospitals as far as their readmission rates, and not allowed to have readmissions after discharge. They have to hopefully patients won't come back in, or the hospitals or healthcare facilities can be penalized for that. They're starting to use EMS systems to actually go out and do field checks on patients that have been recently discharged from facilities. Well, part of that we would have to be able to have access to those patient records and be able to look. So that would be able to, with the new 4G technology, we would be able to access that information a lot quicker than with the current tablet that we have. Like I said, that's definitely coming probably within the next year. The Kentucky Board of EMS is already working on that. But the other thing that we know that will definitely be out before the end of this year, and that's health data exchange. And the way that works is if we would go out to a residence and we pick up a patient, right now we don't have access to their medical records, even by crews that have transported those patients in the past. So in a life-threatening situation, it can really make a big difference being able to look at their medical history. With health data exchange, not only will it allow us to look at the information in which we hold in our medical records at our facility on patients that we've transported in the past, but if, let's just say we transported that patient to Georgetown Community Hospital, we would be able to extract that information on that particular patient through this health data exchange right at the patient's bedside. And that is coming. I do know that there are 2 facilities in Lexington that hope to have this up by October of this year, but we'll be working with them on that. So the capabilities, like I said, we're kind of limited with our current tablets. The ambulance medical billing has offered us to exchange the 6 tablets that we currently have, and basically they would trade those in to finish out the 2-year contract, which we are obligated. If the court decided to move forward with allowing us to purchase these new tablets, ambulance medical billing, our billing company, there would be no upfront cost to us. Only thing that they would ask is that the contract that we currently have, which expires April of 2015, that we extended to April 2016. And they would cover the cost of the new tablets, which are valued at $1,600 a piece, or a total of $9,600. The other nice thing with these new tablets is we would have the capability of adding a keyboard to them. The current tablets, we just have the stylus pen that we can use. When we looked at these tablets, one of the things, we try to keep it as simple as possible. Most people use iPhones, iPads, and even our employees use a lot of those devices, and we really felt this was the way to move. However, with the amount of information we have to enter in on the patient, it does take some time to use that stylus to put medications in or medical information, especially insurance information. So this, allowing us to add that keyboard to that, would definitely help speed up, make the process a little more efficient. Does anybody have any questions? I know I kind of threw a lot of information out, but basically this would just allow us to keep advancing with the technology that's on the market and allowing us to hopefully speed up our whole process, be more efficient in the work that we're doing in the field.
Right, it was to help with overtime and whatnot, where supervisors had to come in after shift and spend numerous hours entering all this information at one time. And I'm sure these new tablets have eliminated most of that.
They have helped a lot with that. Unfortunately, our call volume is going up, so we're still, we still do experience that overtime. But as far as being able to complete the medical or the patient care reports in a timely fashion, it has helped dramatically. Most of the time, especially on those individuals that had to be transported to Lexington facilities, the crew has the patient care report completed before they even return to the county. So that is
And I had
very
talked
helpful.
to Brandon about trying to find out what the difference, the cost savings had been, and I know you don't have the numbers yet, but.
Yeah, and
It would be nice to
unfortunately,
know.
Dave has been working on that. Chuck had asked the cost savings, and unfortunately, he is still out with a family medical issue, and he was hoping to be here tonight to present that. But I can tell you that just a little bit of information that we've kind of shared back and forth over the last week, we're right on track to meet the goal in which ambulance medical billing had promised that we would meet. Also, when we left SDI, our Software Development Incorporated, and that was our current billing company. Our average was, don't quote me on this, but I think it was like $235 per run is what our average was collecting. With A&B, or ambulance medical billing, the current provider, we're up to about $400 per run that we're collecting. So it has increased.
When we took the bids last time, Brandon, how many did we take? Chuck, you were on the committee.
I think there was
Alvin, Bill,
4,
and
I
myself.
believe.
Yeah.
Well,
Actually, we had to go through the process
Twice.
twice.
right.
Right.
Seemed like there was more than 4. I think it seemed like there was more than 4 each time.
There may have been, yeah. And there were some that were
It didn't
eliminated
wind
because
up
they
being that
didn't
way,
meet
I don't
the.
think, because one company didn't meet the specifications. and
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, they actually turned one in.
But one thing with what you're talking about, the new technology, we've got to keep up with technology. We can't let it pass us by. We've got to step up.
Well, the only downside, and it's not a downside because it's working good, is we just extend the contract an extra year. No cost. That's where we stand on the field.
Yeah, and that's part of what I was getting to. I'm assuming, since I get the impression that this is what you all want, that there's been no problems, everything has been as
Yes,
defined to us when we
as-
accepted the original bid.
Yes,
They've held up
they've been
their
very
end.
willing to work with us. We have not had any issues with ambulance medical billing. And if everything continues as it has been to this point, in basically the year that we've been with them, this time next year, I would say our recommendation would be that, continue with the current company that we have.
And based on that, I'd make a motion that, subject to Mr. Williams reviewing the contract, that we proceed with it.
Is there a second? No. Just authorize me to order them to. Okay, no problem.
As long as it's conditional on my review.
Okay.
Question.
Yes, sir.
It sounds like the old cell phone model, extend your contract for a year and we'll give you a new phone.
Right.
It's basically that business model
Right.
that these folks are following. Electronic medical records is a big deal, and hospitals and healthcare providers are really struggling to meet some time deadlines. But there are tremendous security questions about the confidential nature of that medical data.
Correct.
And I know at the hospital how much focus is given to the confidential nature of medical records, and it does concern me when you talk about transmissions or Bluetooth transmissions of medical records to the ambulance service from the hospital. That's going to take, that needs to be done very, very carefully. And in concert with the hospital and your provider, that I think there's some real penalties concerning breaches of that confidentiality. So I just hope that you all are, I know we have to get to that point, but you're going to have to be so careful about the way you do that.
Tom, you are absolutely correct on what you just said. And that information is, of course, all encrypted in the current patient care reporting system that we use, ESO. This has all been approved through all the regulations that they have to go to hold medical records. And they'll be the ones responsible for coordinating that transmission of information between hospitals and then to our software for us to have in the field. All of our tablets are set up. They're password protected, not only to get into that, but each provider that utilizes that has a separate password, and the tablet automatically locks. If you go, I think it's past 3 minutes with no activity on the tablet, it automatically locks and you have to re-enter all your password information. So we do have the security measures in place, and like I said, as far as the requirements, it's just like in the hospital, the encryption that is required for medical facilities. Our patient care software company meets or exceeds all those standards.
It just, it seems like the more devices we add to the system, we're increasing exponentially the opportunity for that data to get out. So if you'll be real careful with that part of it. Also, the idea of the community paramedic services, and I understand the concept, but wouldn't that require, I mean, that's outside of our normal scope of services today. So I assume that would be something that you would negotiate with this hospital or other hospitals, and that would be a change to your business model, which
You're
should
absolutely correct.
generate more income. So, and that would come back to the court for, I would hope, for a thorough examination before you expand
Oh, yes.
your services in
Yeah.
this way.
And this current model has been the community paramedic. A lot of the larger cities on the East Coast are already utilizing this, and once again, they're seeing reimbursements of they're currently working with Medicare, Medicaid, and CMS on the reimbursement plan for going out and making those home visits. A lot of communities in which they have not established that with CMS, and that's the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that have not established that, they're working with those hospitals, and the hospital in which that patient was discharged from is actually paying a fee to those services to go out and provide that follow-up care. So there is still a lot of things to be worked out, especially within the Commonwealth, but it's slowly progressing, and like I said, the Kentucky Board of EMS is currently working on the model that's going to be established within the Commonwealth.
Yeah, kind of knew it was coming, but it surprised me this evening that I heard more detail about that plan from you than I've heard from being on the hospital board. And that I always, I just hope we're moving at the same pace on this.
I had a question on the pads that we're turning in. Who's
Yes.
responsible for scrubbing the information from those? Is the software company gonna take responsibility for that? I mean, there's a lot of.
Yes, the tablets are actually called a GTAC tablet. That's the company who provides them. They also provide tablets to the military. So they follow all of the Department of Defense techniques for scrubbing information. So that's who they'll go back to. And just so that everybody's aware, the patient care information is not stored on those tablets. It's just the link that we go to get to the servers. So there is absolutely no patient care stored on any of those mobile tablets.
Any other questions, or if not, all in favor? Okay, thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Anyone else? David?
Give you a quick update on the museum. We've got a lot of things going on. One thing is, a lot of people are enjoying a 13-minute video on the history of Scott County. This was produced back, I think, in 1991, and it sort of got lost. And I found it on an old VHS tape and got it transferred over to DVD, and we got us a decent, nice flat screen TV. And a lot of people now are sitting there. I have to apologize and say I don't have any popcorn for them, but they're enjoying that on the history of Scott County. I think Mr. Williams' voice is on there. He might recall it.
I do.
Another big thing, we just finished it yesterday, got a new alarm system put in. So the old one dated back to 1999, and so now we've got, it's a new DVR recorder, and with the motion sensors and the cameras and everything, we're feeling much better about being able to protect all the valuable things that we've got there. Brochures. We're using a grant from last year from tourism, and right now over in Lexington we're having 5,000 brochures printed up on the museum that we can hand out and advertise the museum, let everybody know we're there. Also, Bill Stark is working on an outside sign that we're going to put out there to so from the street everybody can see this nice sign with our logo and everything on it, and see that the museum's there, and try to welcome them in. And one last thing real quick, we're about got it finished, and I just invite you to come down if you want to see. We've got the back display room. It's basically tools and tobacco. A lot of antique farming tools and a lot of things on the production of tobacco. We've even got some tobacco plants back in there. We're growing our own tobacco back there, so seeing if that works. But that might be a little fun to come by and see. And if you got time, sit there for the video. And again, no popcorn, but and that's it. A lot of things going on.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
One thing, the bids, the advertisement for bids are out on the street now, so they'll be coming in and work should be begun about the 1st of July. So that's where we're standing on that. Anyone else? Mr. Hughes?
No, sir.
Mr.
Couple of things, Judge. One of them being the show barn. This court needs to be aware that people are really admiring what's going on out there. They want to know the cupola on top and whatnot, what's going on, but they're excited. They want to know what the completion date is, and I tell them I can't give them that right now, but
The scheduled completion date, scheduled is June the 30th, correct?
The last report said the 20th.
Well, the schedule, they got,
Yeah.
but
Contract.
they've had the contract.
Right.
Now, I think they'll get it done quicker, but
it does. It looks huge
Yeah.
out there.
yes, they're trying to get it done in time for the fair, but the contract takes to June the 30th. Isn't that right, JR?
One other thing is the Cooperative Extension is getting ready to celebrate their 100th birthday.
Well, good.
That's May the 8th, I believe is the correct date for that and whatnot, but they had a meeting Monday night, or Tuesday night maybe it was, and they brought back a lot of the elderly people and talked about when the fair started and whatnot. It was pretty interesting.
Sounds like. Anything else?
No, sir.
Mr. Livingston?
No, sir.
Mr. Prater?
No, sir.
Judge, we've been discussing about the moving of the garage, and I got to thinking, one of the things we could take consideration is if we had a plan of what they need at the garage, if we had an architectural plan, it might make us decide the best location. I like to see what JR's got in mind about how many square feet, how much the salt barn would be, how much roadage we'd have to have. If we could have a design, I think it would really help us out. I don't know how the rest of the court feels like, but I think it would determine which location we'd want to go to. And I don't see why, since we've all agreed upon the point that it needs to come off the county park, why we can't go ahead and look at a design and make a decision from there.
You asking me?
I mean, I'm going to fill the court out about it and see what they think.
I'm not against hiring an architect and engineer. The thing, I'd have to ask the architect, if you don't know where it's gonna be built, how are you gonna design it? But I don't know, I'm not an architect, I'm just.
Well, JR pretty much know, what he's going to need, and how much square footage, and I would think that would assist us all the way around.
Take
I
the
mean,
different locations and superimpose the building and
Absolutely.
see how it would lay.
I think it's getting the cart before the horse.
And I want to do that. I want to put the cart before the horse because we will make the decision, but I need to see what JR and what the garage needs to last us for the next 25 years or more.
But until you pick a location, it's gonna be hard to
I
determine.
disagree
that.
with you 100%. I
Yeah.
think the main type is what we need and determine from there how much space it's going to take and what is the best for us all.
Well, obviously they need a new garage, but, the new court is gonna be the one that probably ends up taking that project on. And if we sit and spend taxpayers' dollars on something that the odds are that it's gonna be changed by the new court, I just don't think that's the thing to do.
Well,
you
I
got-
make a
Well,
motion.
why wouldn't we be able to get it started before?
Absolutely.
That's
I
what I
agree.
There's no reason to wait for the new court. There's absolutely no reason to wait for the new court.
Absolutely not. That's right.
Because we don't know, we need it now, and we have no idea what the future court will decide what is needed. And they may say, no, we're good out there. But it's gonna be, it's gonna be 5 new members. It's
Right.
gonna be a majority new members. And they will not, even though Alvin and I have only been here 4 years, they'll be coming in fresh, and they'll have no idea of what the discussions have been. And I would prefer to go on ahead and start working on it and have a plan in place to move forward before the new court comes in.
The other thing is we're getting ready to pass the budget that will include the money for the building. So we need to be moving forward at this time with this court because it's the budget that we're setting forth. So it only makes sense that we make the determination of the type, size, building that we need, location, and then hopefully we can get this thing underway.
I'd like to go ahead, Judge, and make a motion that we hire an architect to get with JR, determine what all we do need, and go from there.
One of the things, I have talked to an architect and also a construction manager about the future of it. I'm kind of like what Bill said, you know, if you want to rush into it, we can rush into it, in my opinion, but
It really won't make it, if we know how much square footage we need, what kind of a structure you want, it'll fit in a lot of places.
Regardless of what structure you fit, they're gonna have to design it and critique
I've
it
got a
to
motion
the
on-
property location.
I got a motion on the table.
I haven't heard. Is that your motion?
Yes.
Did you make a motion who you wanted to hire?
No, we can put it up for bid if you wish, or whatever the court decides on that part of it.
One of the things, if that's what the court wants to do, the architect that's done a lot of good work for us, and I don't like to just keep doing the same one, is CMW.
They have done a great job.
And I talked to a construction manager who has worked with CMW. And I don't know if that's a good partnership or not, but they work together, and things you can save with a construction manager is the 6% sales tax. Now, you're gonna have to pay him to do the work, but there is a savings there. But I'll be glad to call, if that's the court wants.
Okay. I'll go on ahead and just second it to bring it to a vote.
Well, it's
Instead of
still
letting it
more
die.
with discussion. I mean, apparently it's been discussed a long time before we sit down at this table.
No,
I agree.
you know, honestly, I haven't
I
had a
agree.
discussion about this at all.
Yeah.
I've been in
just-
softball fields too much to talk to anybody else about
Judge and I
it.
have, you know, brought this up not too long ago, but anyhow, what would it be between now and the workshop to have the court members and you and the road department to go out and look at the proposed two sites that we're thinking about right now and make some kind of judgment of it? The
Well, we looked
location.
at 3 sites.
I didn't know we'd done
Three.
Three, or two,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
And
I only
this-
was aware of two.
the situation that you've got, and you got to be realistic. There's 3 sites that's been, one is out at Taylor property. The other's behind Fire Station 1, and the other's a site on 25 North. To access,
Y'all toured it a few years ago.
We don't own that though.
no, we don't own it, but it still was suggested.
Oh,
Okay, I'm not saying I'm for it. I mean, that's 3.
My land.
But I think it would be good if we're gonna hire an architect to go out and look at the 3 sites and say, yeah, we can build it. We can build it anywhere. Getting to it behind Fire Station 1 is an issue. You got a creek to cross,
And you don't know where the road's gonna be.
and you don't know where the
And-
bypass is gonna be.
I think that'll be pretty well solidified this coming year.
Yeah,
The-
I mean, all of
Yeah.
that, yeah. If you wanna build the building, then, in this year's budget, and they haven't, the 6-year plan has got the new bypass laid out, I think at about 5 years down the road, counting, purchase of the land, utilities, and those things. Now, if we choose to put it behind Station 1, an architect can tell you what it's gonna cost to get back to it if we're gonna do it this year. I mean, that's a given. Now, if he says, yeah, we can cross that creek and drive back through there in the winter, or we can build a road and hope the creek don't get up, all of those things, if you want to do it now, that needs to be addressed. Now, if you can design the building, I think, John T., you're right, put it most anywhere, I think, I don't know that. But the time frame you're talking about is a totally different issue. Now, do you want to, if behind Station 1 is where you want it, is the time frame of any importance? You looking at me awful.
No, I'm just listening.
Oh, you agree with
No,
me?
I'm-
You and I
no.
went out there.
So,
Yes.
May I say one thing?
Yeah.
You know, and I know it's been talked about on the Taylor property and whatnot, and I know that tends to be parks and whatnot, but if you took the road department in such a situation and you surveyed and fenced an area off that would not be a part of the park,
That's,
that would
absolutely,
be
yeah.
completely a different tract of
Yeah.
land then.
Yeah.
Until.
That bypass has been determined, it should be completed this year. Should
I
be.
think the road through the Taylor property, if we get the little right-of-way, and I'm meeting with them this week, this coming week, there's a strip of about 20 feet wide and about maybe 100 feet long that we've got to have to make access. And we're meeting this coming week. If we get that, the road can be bid out in the next few weeks and construction can start. The plans are already there. That's for the road through the Taylor property. Now, if you're going the other way, then if there's a way to access it, then somebody can tell me.
Well, my comment is on the Taylor property, if you fenced it off and whatnot, that way nobody could encroach and get so tight on them like they have right now.
That's a whole different
We've really
story.
gotten up against them where
Yeah.
they're at.
There's 127 acres on the Taylor property. And we're looking at, what did we say, JR? 5 to 7 acres out of 127.
Then, a question I have is the property behind Station One. What is the long-term use of that property going to be?
Well, it'd be up to the court to decide.
Right. But if we're
And
gonna put. this
When
goes-
we bought that property way back for the fire station, we couldn't buy just 5 or 6 acres out there. It was, and I think there'd be a lot of uses for it. What they would be down the road, I don't know.
But we know that the Taylor property is going to be parks going forward.
Well, the other could be parks too.
And if we grow as fast as projected, we may need all the parks, but I'm
Well,
simply saying that.
okay, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying, if it takes 5 years to build a road department at the fire station, would you be agreeable to that?
No.
Okay.
No.
So let's get the architect, get him to come out. and-
Well, let's get an idea of what we need.
Yeah.
Get JR to start putting together a plan of what we need to go move forward on a new facility.
Okay.
I'd like to go look at the sites.
Yeah, I've been out there, Stuart and I've been
Well,
out there.
I've
I don't
been
think
too,
there's
but
any,
I mean, with JR and you or something.
Yeah, well,
I'd like
sure.
to go, rather than being on my own.
we'll do it,
I might
yeah.
get lost on my own.
Well, you don't have to drive.
I'm very familiar with the property.
Yeah, Bill?
I just hope we can limit this to 2 comments, but as far as the property behind the fire department, I'm going to use a saying that realtors use when it comes to closings, and I think Mr. Williams can probably speak to this. It's not closed until it's closed, and the location of a proposed road by the state have been subject to change before, and so until construction started, you know, you're not guaranteed that road's gonna stay there. As far as the Taylor property, it'll be years down the road, but at some point, if it's there, we're putting the court at that time in the same predicament we are now with the growth of the parks and stuff. They're gonna grow right up to it. We know that's gonna happen. When, we don't know.
If you fenced it off and deeded off a certain parcel.
But they're still gonna come up to it. At
They
some
can
point,
only
they're
come
gonna
to
come
the
to it,
fences as
unless
far
we
as they
sell
can
something
go.
of it all.
Well, what we've got, and Bill's got a good point, and behind the fire station's an excellent place. The timing is a problem, and the other's an excellent place. But I can get the architect, if CMW is the one that you want, I'll have them come down and we meet with JR and, we'll talk about what he needs. And then we'll vote where we want to put it and go from there. Is that what the court wants?
I've got a question.
Yeah,
or two.
I've got a whole lot of it. Go ahead.
It does seem like there's a real interest on the court to build a road garage, and we've agreed that we've got the funding for it, and you've written in a big chunk of it into the budget we're considering now. So it looks like the project has every opportunity to move forward. It does seem like step one needs to be JR putting down on paper what he thinks current needs are and what the longer-term needs are. I don't think we need to size this facility for our population today. We need to size it for what our population is going to be in 10 years. So we may overbuild it slightly.
Sure.
But JR could start that process. But the handful of building projects I've been around, when you bring in engineers and when you bring in architects and start spending money on them, it just makes so much more sense to have a site-specific location for them to apply their trade to apply their skills to. And simply designing a building that might meet our needs, but it can go here, here, or here, just seems like an odd process. It seems like we would ask them to work on a specific site. So I'm not opposed to bringing in an architect and having them do preliminary work with JR, but to get down to doing bid specifications and getting this project to the point where it's that formal when we haven't picked out a site just doesn't seem rational to me.
Well, you couldn't even do it.
No, you need to know how much property we'll need. You'll need to know how much space JR needs to work out, how much the salt barn would take up in space. That gives us the plan to go from there with the architect, but we need an initial plan. I mean, some idea of what all that they want. That will take care of that 10 or 25 years.
We can take part of this bite right now, but we don't have
Don't
all
take
the
a big
data
bite,
to
that's
take a
right.
full
Yeah.
bite.
No, well, right now is just getting someone with JR to have enough to know to feed us back what we would potentially be looking at for full design. Of course, I'm thinking an architect's the best one to do it with.
Let me ask this question. If we take a small bite of it right now, what is the time frame
That's exactly
for
right.
actually building?
Yeah. I didn't hear you comment.
I said if we move in a small step right now, what is the actual time frame of beginning to build? I guess that's the biggest thing that is in my mind, because until tonight, I've not heard a lot of conversation about it.
I can tell you the possibilities where Bill's talking about, you could probably start next week.
Which one?
There's a lot of
Behind
buildings
the-
already
Yeah.
there,
It's already
still
there.
buildings.
Right.
Yeah.
The doors are big enough to get fire trucks and any other vehicle in.
How quickly have we ever bought a piece of property?
I'm not saying, I'm not for that, Stuart. I'm just telling you that's one magistrate, but he's right. The time frame is, and what Glenn said, why don't we do this? I can get the architect.
Judge, hold on.
Yeah.
Is that the property where the heating facility
Yes.
is?
Yeah.
Where what is?
Oh, yeah, no, no. No. Okay, go
Well,
ahead. I got it. Go ahead. Go
Okay,
ahead.
Bill,
Yeah, on what Tom was saying, if we determine, JR determines what he needs as far as square footage and all that, that's great, but depending upon how the property lays, there's multiple ways that a building can be constructed, some more economical than others, based on the site layout. And if you lay out something now, not knowing the terrain of the land and all that, then you're gonna pay to redo part of the work. I mean, that's going to happen. There's just no
The
way.
big thing right now
around
is
it.
JR getting back to us, this is what I need. This is what I need in footage, this is what I need in equipment, this, some idea of it.
But if you design, whatever you design now, is gonna have to be
But we don't have
worked
to
on
have
to
a
fit
full
other property.
Okay, an architect can assist JR. JR can feed him information, and the architect can come back and say, okay, this is the kind of land lay you need, this is the space that you need, and he can give us an idea, a preliminary idea up front. But right now, we haven't any idea of what all that he needs. We've never seen anything. So you pretty much have an idea of what you'd like to have to work out of, right?
Well, sure we do. Just like when we went into the show barn, we had an old barn getting ready to fall down, and we sat and discussed with the architect on what we
That's
like
what-
and what we needed, and they put it together.
That's what, that's.
But
the
you had a,
biggest thing.
but you had a,
And that, pretty much, that's all we need at this point, is, you know, what you need to have to work out of.
but you had a location that they could work off of, and once they made that design, they knew there was gonna be very little, if any, changes to make that work. If you do the design first,
You're
then-
talking about a full-scale design of a building, and how
I'm talking
much
about doing it
concrete.
the way it's typically done in construction.
I'm talking.
Let's do this. Let me get the architect from CMW to come down. We'll meet with JR, come up with a rendering, and see where we are.
That's fine.
Then we'll go out and look at the location and and I don't think Bill Pickering would probably not even charge us for that. He might, but if he does, we'll pay him.
I'll table the motion. I
Nope.
don't mind doing that. It's the biggest thing is I'd like for JR to be able to work with somebody and get it rolling.
Now, what's your motion, John Terry? Is it a motion?
We'll table the motion if you're gonna get with the architect.
Well, I've already gotten with him, but I'll get with him again. And we've talked, but yes, I'll do that.
The main thing is, it hadn't come to the court. I haven't seen a plan of anything, but if you can come back with some stuff saying, this is how
We'll-
much space we need.
We'll do that. I'll get.
Table the motion?
Sure.
Yeah,
Table the
just-
motion.
Is that, yeah, is that, I'll get with.
I think it's okay to table the motion, but there is an intent to move forward. But it does sound like someone to work with JR to make sure the basic needs are met, and their scope of work can be limited. We're not gonna do finished drawings yet, or we can't do elevations yet,
Right.
which are a part of the process.
Or rock sound.
And included in his scope of work could be an evaluation of the sites under consideration.
Now, Bill Pickering has worked with us on these things before. And if it doesn't get too broad, he probably won't charge anything, assuming that he's gonna get the job in the short run. And evaluating, now, I can tell him up front that, but this is a court decision, who we are for an architect, not mine. You wanna get a different firm, that's fine with me.
I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So I don't, it doesn't.
I have no problem seeing
And
they've done a great job.
I'll tell him about whether or not we want to go with a construction manager. It seems like that would save us money.
Yeah. Construction manager, I think, ends up saving the sales tax. They would bill the county would pay for it.
Yes.
And that, I've worked on multitude of.
I'll do that.
hospitals as a matter
I'll
of
call
fact.
Bill in the morning and we'll set up a meeting and, but you can't just take a notebook and a piece of paper and start drawing this stuff up.
No.
And we'll go out and visit the sites and see what it would take. Not,
Right. And I'm assuming, and I know JR's got it, but he'll need a list of all his equipment that he keeps inside.
JR,
and-
yeah,
and
all
we
of that.
probably need to, I would think we need to include, if we've got an extra fire truck or something that's not used, that anything that's being stored outside that can be in it, the key, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is this is obviously needed, it's very important, but it needs to be done correctly. Everything from site location to design a building, and it needs to be designed for future needs.
that's what we usually do.
That's
Yeah.
what we
You're
always
right.
do.
Yeah, okay. As if we got that settled? Okay. Let's see, John, do you got any more things?
No, thank you.
Public service.
Public service, you got it. There's another 5K race this Saturday in Georgetown. This will be the 5th one since the season started. And David, I've run in
It'll
2
be
of the
the fifth
4.
one I haven't run.
And I'll run in the other one Saturday. So, but I'd encourage everyone to come out, and even the employees probably, I mean, you don't have to run it, you can walk it, and it fits right in with the
Where's it at?
wellness system.
Where is it?
It starts in front of the college. It's at 5:30 in the evening this week. Normally they're in the mornings.
Anything else?
Not this week.
Glenn?
Nothing wrong.
Anybody? No further business?
Going once, going